Gotta wait for this thing to go live. All right. And I am on a little bit early. So, because I'm early, hey, Brian, how are you? I am going to go sneeze really quickly and I will be right back. Hopefully, maybe it'll go away. My sinuses have been going nuts lately. I've had a sinus infection this week. It's just been awful. I feel like this winter, I don't know if it's a little chemtrail planes that they have going, flying about in the atmosphere, but you know the feeling. I know a lot of people on my team have, like, we've just been going through it. Just sinus infection after sinus infection. Then I had this stomach virus that my kids had. Now, I haven't really gotten it, thank God. But, let's just hope I don't get it. But, anyways, I'm on early. So, if those of you who missed this, you can catch it on the replay. And thanks so much to those of you who recently subscribed to my channel. All right. And big ups to you, Brian Toller. I see you. I really appreciate your support in the channel too. I love my regulars. I love my regulars. We get along well. They know how this channel function. We like to chop it up, right? Shout out to my mods. They may show up. Ghetto Planet, Info Warrior. I love you guys. All right. So 50 cents, everybody has something to say about all of this controversy with Diddy and Jay-Z. And I was actually, curious about what the Optimus Prime of trolls had to say about this conversation, 50 Cent. And I like 50 Cent. I think he's a very smart man. He's intelligent. I think 50 knows how to play ball in a machine that, can, be very cruel to people who are just money hungry and not calculated. I find 50 Cent to be very calculated. And I'm pretty sure that, he's probably coming from the experience, from the lens of the experiences of many artists who have been in the industry trying to make it. He understood very early on that you can't be an artist just doing music in this hyper brand machine. So I find Curtis 50 Cent Jackson to be a very smart man. But off of that, I was listening to some of the things that he was saying when he was on Big Boy recently, and he's talking about Jay-Z. And he's talking about, Big Boy asked him about Jay-Z and Diddy, and he was like, asking 50, like, do you feel like, okay, everybody's being exposed, I might be next, whoop de whoop de whoop. So I wanted to kind of go into this discussion a little bit, and then there's a couple of things that 50 say that it kind of just co-signs things that I've said in my previous blogs. People say, you're speaking hyperbole, you're speaking in assumptions. I'm like, no, there are certain writings that are really on the wall, and you have to be a hyper conscious person to be able to read those writings on the wall and just kind of see how things play out predictably. And that's what I've been blessed to do. So let's listen to what 50 Cent has to say.
All right for him internally. Speaking on.
And he's talking about Jay. He's saying that he hope everything is all right with Jay-Z internally.
I mean, at the crib. Because in the statement they mentioned his
you talking about Jay?
His daughter would, being old enough to, because she about 13.
Right.
So it's the same age as his kids. You saying he did and something to.
Do you ever feel like, man, like there's just so much gotcha that goes on?
Yeah, I mean, look,
right now,
it's not. We live in a climate that it's not even what you did. It's what they said you did.
Right.
Facts. He said we live in a climate where it's not even about what you did. It's about what they said you did.
Right. So it's like the damage is already done by the allegation itself. Like, so if that, like when they say extortion, that means if they've made an amount, if they talk settlement or sent settlement notices that had an amount in it, it feels like extortion.
Right.
Because you know the damage it does if it does come out publicly. If there's no amount mentioned, then that's just a tactic
But you will meet people.
And that's a very interesting point because, to the point of the complainants, Tony Busby, he said, I never put in an amount, right? But 50 Cent is saying, there's extortion when there's an actual settlement amount in these notices, right? But if there's not an amount, right, then it's a tactic, right? And keep that in mind. Because these people are taking folks out left and right.
Lawsuit yourself, which I love.
Yeah, no,
man.
I get into it. I spend $1 million a year I keep legal counsel year round.
He pays $1 million a year for legal counsel.
Sue you as often as you think you would sue me.
Right.
Like that, because they look and they say once you got the package, you become a target for the attorneys. You know who's going to benefit the most from Puffy's situation right now? The lawyers. They're going to look for $7,000 and $5,000 per hour.
$7,000, $5,000 per hour, right? So think about, you got a coordinated conglomerate group of leeches, lawyers, and who want to guise themselves out of being in favor of victims, right? And they're going around to these high profile, high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth people, and they're basically shaking them up, some of them, right? These people, they're getting paid by the hour, right? And a lot of times they're going to get paid in the form of that settlement, right? So if you're able to shake up somebody like Jay-Z, who I believe Jay-Z's net worth, he's about worth $2 billion, right? So even if you can shake him up out of, 500 million, guess who's getting paid like richly? A team of lawyers that's helping him just defend his honor.
Got the package, you become a target for the attorneys. You know who's going to benefit the most from
you become a target for these attorneys.
The lawyers. They're going to look for $7,000 and $5,000 per hour. Damn. 4 lawyers, 5 lawyers at a time, just to come back for bail hearings and stuff like that. So we spend a lot of money.
Do you think Puff is cooked?
I'm not sure if he's cooked. I'm not sure how bad that it is because you know what, when we think of all of those different allegations that pile up, he's cooked.
Right.
But I don't know how much of that turns into actually like what he's up against.
Right. The court of public opinion is one thing.
Yeah.
And then they also say, once we get in.
And shout out to Big Boy TV.
I mean, that public opinion he's
for doing this interview.
They watched him like that. But when you think about, it had a lot to do with him coming out and saying, I've been sitting here watching you people assault my character, this and that, and then the tape comes out. Boom. So, if the government released the tape, then it would say that they kind of poisoned the pool of people. And that could be a defense.
Do you believe in conspiracies like that too? Or could
conspiracy? I don't know if it's a conspiracy, Big. I mean, like when someone leaks something, it goes to TMZ. Like the regular person, their channel is with TMZ. When you see something come on and it comes on CNN, that's a little different. That could have came from the government itself, And it's interesting because he had different problems with people on different levels, like the Diageo when he's saying.
That's what I said. 50 is even saying it too. Diddy was A-OK when he was playing ball, right? All this blogger ammo, Diddy this, takedown Diddy, this person came out about a freak off, that person came out about a freak off. We really wouldn't have been having any of these conversations had he not been beefing with the wrong people at the wrong levels. And 50 is saying, and I said this before, Puff pissed off the wrong people, right? And when I look at this whole, quote, takedown of Diddy, right, I don't look at it as something virtuous, right? It's not anything virtuous. All of these people coming out the woodwork 20, 30, 15 years, 10 years after the fact, right? These people were suppressed, right? They were back pocket collateral, right? So as long as Diddy played ball, that man could have played ball for the rest of his life, never sued Diageo, right? And he would have just been skating, being the same damn monster, right? But because he had issues with people on different levels, right, it made it easier to coordinate against him.
With people on different levels, like the Diageo, when he's saying that they're racist because they was doing something different with his brand. Like these people, this is a $3 billion company. These people have lobbyists. in DC. If they want,
So 50 is saying that Puff was going up against big conglomerates who had lobbyists in DC, right? So if you got lobbyists in DC, that means that you got those alphabet agencies, somebody, some people, some folks on lock in those little alphabet federal agencies ready to take down a burned asset or take somebody out or take somebody down. And, you know, it to me, I'm not jumping on any train of Diddy's right or wrong. I'm not jumping on the train of, Puff doesn't deserve the demonization that he's getting. I guess from my lens, I'm always going to look at this so-called takedown of Diddy as nothing more than a short squeeze of the man's money, right? Because he definitely recovered from that little lawsuit. So I look at this as a short squeezing of the money that he sued this big machine from, and they're just coordinating to take him down, right? And obviously, this is not something I'm outside looking in, right? But you got people who are around the industry who are pretty much co-signing with everybody who has common sense and rationality are saying that, it's giving takedown. It's giving coordinated takedown. And honestly, this takedown wouldn't happen if Diddy would just play ball and then sue anybody.
if they want to turn it on, they could turn on.
Mm-hmm.
And then they benefited probably the most from those parties.
Are you ever concerned with that?
What?
With you being as big as you are, that's something.
Well, I'm not suing them.
Right.
He said, I'm not suing them. See, 50 is smart. He's like, I ain't suing nobody, right? I ain't suing them, right? Puff got too big for his britches, and a machine that raised his ass probably made him into the groomer that he had become, right? And then he just decided to, sue the wrong folks. And 50 was like, nah, I don't worry about them coming after me because I ain't suing those folks.
That's something.
Well, I'm not suing them.
Right.
I'm not going after them.
You're like, no, big.
But you're attached to a lot of brands, a lot of big brands, right?
Yeah, well, those are mine.
Yeah.
I own those companies.
You're like, so you take a note. That's a difference.
Like we just saw Conor McGregor get dropped from his whiskey company.
Yeah, which I thought was his.
What's going on.
Yeah, I thought Ciroc was Diddy's.
Yeah,
Yeah, same here.
Well, he was getting paid a lot of money, babe, like that. A lot of money.
Yeah, what is this on the table right here?
So, yeah, they talk about Diddy did not own Ciroc. Diddy was a brand ambassador for Ciroc. He was like these little Instagram influencers who got like the little diet drinks and stuff. They get paid to sort of endorse, or those Kamala Harris
Watch what's
Instagrammers, right? Who was, fake lying about the virtues of Kamala Harris, right? And some of them got paid up to $10,000 a post.
I can't get dropped.
Right? That's what Diddy was for Ciroc. He was a brand ambassador. He had a name behind him. He had a huge following, huge influence. So he was getting paid just like a brand ambassador. And so, like they were talking about a couple of months ago, Diddy went hard for Ciroc. I did a whole video on this, so you're going to have to binge watch my channel, right? But Diddy went hard for Ciroc, according to the reports, right? And I don't think the brand anticipated having to pay him nearly $60 million a year, right? So Diddy decided to do what 50 Cent did and was like, you know what? I want to own my own brand, right? And that's where the Deleon came in, right? And the whole issue Diddy had with accusing that company of racism is because, and this is for any person who has a product, right? The person that controls your distribution, they pretty much control your success, right? And so that alcohol company was the distributor of his product. And according to his lawsuit, they were not producing enough agave for his particular product, and they weren't, and his products were actually selling more than, let's just say, that George Clooney brand, and yet George Clooney was getting paid what they felt like George Clooney was worth, and yet they were making Diddy operate like a overpaid slave that had a lot of clout. And Diddy didn't really like that very much, right? And then when he saw the fact that he felt like the company was actually trying to sabotage the success of his brand, that is when he started suing folks. And again, right, that was pretty much the fire starter, right? Let us not forget that that Cassie video was around forever. And he had enough power and protection for even that vile video to be suppressed from the public for a considerable duration of time until they needed it to take him down.
Right. Hey, Fifth, do you drink?
You know, I did look.
Right.
I taste things.
Right.
He said, "I taste
I don't
You
things."
taste success.
Right. You know, that's like, you know, when you go run for president and they said, I smoked, but I didn't inhale.
Right. You're like, I taste it. Yeah. Man, back
Taste
to
it.
50's 2 cent. The entire Kendrick and Drake beef.
Let me go back to my little chat here for a second so I can shout out chat, because I see y'all going. What's going on, Jacqueline? I see you. And y'all got to apologize. I apologize to y'all in advance. My sinuses are going nuts. All right. So I may have to wipe my nose and sneeze every now and then. But what's going on, you guys? I try to be healthy, but I tell you, here's the thing. I don't really take sick days. I just stay the course. You know, if I'm functional, I'm functional. But man, the sinus infection was horrible. Okay, here we go. So what's going on, Daniel? I see you. He tried to sue the wrong people. I think he won too. He did win. And I think they're trying to short squeeze him out of those winnings. I think that's what it is. I looked at that as like he won. I don't know what that settlement was, but I got to imagine that if I could imagine based off of this lawsuit, it's possible Diddy could have walked away with close to $1 billion from that settlement. He could have walked away with close to $1 billion from that settlement. And I think that them folks did not like that. And I think that he's being short squeezed out of that. So what's going on, Miguel? I see you. What did he sue over? I look it up. I just explained it to you, but hopefully you're not just chiming in, Jason. But yeah, he sued them over the distribution. That was the whole crux of his lawsuit. Is he had a deal with this particular alcohol brand, Diageo, to distribute his brand called Deleon. And remember Young Miami, the city girl that he was with? Like, she had Deleon in almost every damn song. Deleon and Lemonade, you know, like she was really going hard for Diddy and that brand. So she was like a brand ambassador for Deleon. So when you look at the case, the breakdown, you can definitely see that Diddy went just as hard for Deleon, his own brand, as he did for Ciroc, the brand that he was just an ambassador for, right? And so, and think about it too, as a brand ambassador for Ciroc, that company was paying him damn near $60 million a year just as a brand ambassador. And I think Diddy was looking at like, okay, if I can make this off of your stuff, you know, I'm going to start distributing my own brand. And I think that his brand was kind of competing against a brand that George Clooney had, but Diddy's brand was selling more than George Clooney's brand. And I think, you know, there was probably I believe that there was a level of racism in that, because again, you know, there's no way, there's no justification for trying to sabotage a successful brand, you know, outside of the fact that you don't want the person who's the face behind the brand, because it happens to be black, to be successful. And again, regardless of what people want to say about Sean Diddy Combs, he's a businessman, right? And he knows how to make deals, and he knows how to make things work, right? And so that is why he was a great brand ambassador, because when you look at the numbers of Ciroc, Diddy helped turn that brand around. Ciroc was not doing that well before Diddy became the brand ambassador, and I think that just annually the cases that they were shipping went up substantially after after he became the brand ambassador for Ciroc. So again, I can understand why Diddy felt compelled to sue those people. Maybe they were in their feelings because he wasn't willing to settle with them, and he actually went public with it, right? And it was really right around that time that, Cassie had the lawsuit and all of that stuff just started going into motion. So, Diddy definitely, I feel like he offended the wrong people, and they coordinated against his ass. But the bottom line is, we wouldn't even hear about this Diddy stuff if he would have just been playing ball with those folks. If that lawsuit never happened, Diddy would still be walking around with young Miami Carisha, the same monster that he had been, tricking and freaking another day. That's my opinion. That is my opinion about that. Speaking of, tricking and freaking and just people just responding to shit, you got these Gen Zers, right? And they are celebrating the death of this United Healthcare CEO. And they're upset right now, some of them. They are very upset because they're upset with the snitches that got that fine-ass shooter apprehended, right? And so they're clowning these people now because apparently the person who called 911 to tip off the police that the shooter was at the McDonald's, apparently because she didn't call the tip line and she just went to call 911, they don't qualify for the reward money that was put up to catch this guy. Sucks, right? And they worked at McDonald's too, and apparently their job is on the line as well, because they decided to, as some of these people are saying, snitch them out. So let's hear what some of these young folks got to say about these rats, or as they call them. Okay, I'm not going to call them traders
every day this week. When will
What'd you say, girl?
I hope you get it, and I hope more people get it.
Riley Walls, Nancy Parker, we're just making examples out of class traders every day this week. When will you snitches learn your lesson? Riley Walls had to make all of his social platforms private after trying to snitch on the bike route of Luigi. He went on CNN.
They calling this shooter by his first name, Luigi. He is really a hero to these people.
Publicly take credit and put his face and name to it, and he got eaten alive. Nancy Parker is the woman who called 911 to turn in Luigi at McDonald. It was an older gentleman who said it looked like him, but Nancy Parker was the one who called. She will not be getting the money because she called 911 instead of the tip line. And 2, the actual terms to receive the money are so convoluted that it would virtually be impossible for any average American citizen to actually collect on that money. She also brought down that McDonald's location's rating to a 1-star review, as everyone flooded it to give it horrible reviews. She most likely is going to get fired. 1, that's probably enough to get her fired, but 2, for her own safety, since everyone knows her whole government name and where she works. I would say that I feel bad.
So these people are just demonic in their little souls. They are just demonic in their souls. Like, you turned in our hero, you snitched on our hero, right? And so they're doxing these people, right? I feel like these people are a threat to the folks who call themselves tipping somebody off. And this woman is calling them a class traitor. The people who snitched on this shooter, they're calling these people class traitors. Gen Z, they are they wake up with violence. These young kids, they wake up with violence. They just wake up with violence. Yep, it's been happening years and years. Okay, let's see. Guess my McDonald's boycott is continuing. I mean, what did McDonald's do though? What did McDonald's do? Why y'all boycotting McDonald's? What did McDonald's do? They couldn't help it that this dude decided to eat breakfast at one of their location. They can't help it that one of their employees decided that they were going to be $60,000 rich by calling the local police station and saying, hey, this might be your guy, right? Instead of calling the tip line, right? They work at freaking McDonald's, right? They work at freaking McDonald's. They not making that. They saw opportunity. They saw a poor man's opportunity, perhaps, right? And they took it, but they ain't got shit to do with McDonald's. I'm sure McDonald's didn't put out no company-wide email like, hey, if y'all see Luigi cat that shot the CEO in any of our locations, right? I'm sure McDonald's didn't put out any type of e-blast or notifications to their employees. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why people are boycotting McDonald's. What the hell? This is the irrationality of some of these young people. It's like, okay, I get it. Luigi is your hero, okay? And I get what he was standing for. I get it. I'm not saying that the guy was not standing for something that he felt like was righteous, and many would believe that he was standing up for something righteous. But nevertheless, he did go and murder somebody in cold blood, whether you cared for that somebody or not. And there's still the matter of the law, because you can't go around killing CEOs, right? You can't just go around killing people, right? There's still the law, all right? And whether or not you felt like this guy deserved it or not, there's still the law. But off of that, why the hell are you weirdos boycotting McDonald's? Like, I mean, I don't understand why that particular franchise is suffering right now. I don't understand why these passionately ignorant people are going on the internet and trying to tank that business so that all the other employees can also, possibly lose their jobs. Like, you people don't freaking think about this. Is where the emotionally irrational will always be poison in society, to me, right? Because you don't really think about the big freaking picture here, right? You're just running on emotions. Yes, I know he was fine as hell. He was a cute little white boy, okay? Italian boy. Italians are kind of cute, though. Yes, I know. And it sucks that the fine ones do crazy shit. But y'all got to be rational here, right? And I know that he did something that many of you would think is heroic. But nevertheless, he may be a hero to you, but for overall legal purposes, he is an accused murderer. All right? He's a murderer, right? And he's going to have to, and even he accepted the fate and the consequences of his actions, right? He was killing parasites. In his mind, he was killing a parasite. He understood the consequences of his actions, right? And so stop blaming McDonald's. It's kind of weird. And you said you would have, Jim Smith, you said you would have turned him in too? Hey, dude standing on his paper he made legally. He got, I'm sorry. Well, I think that they have not convicted him, but they've charged him. They've charged him with the murder of the CEO based off of the manifesto and some of the other writings and things that they discovered on this person, linking him to be the possible shooter. He obviously expressed his motive and this guy is turning into a total rock star. I mean, I think he only had like a couple of followers on X, and now he's all like over like 250,000 followers. Crazy. You said keep shucking and jiving for the billionaire class. Who's shucking and jiving for the billionaire class? Who's shucking and jiving for the billionaire class? I mean, I think if we were to keep it 100, how many people do McDonald's Corporation employ compared to you? I just want to know that. For all of you guys who hate all of these big corporations, and I'm not saying that they're saints, many of them are capitalist, greedy, leeches, right? But let's just keep it a buck. It's not like the society would really function without these bigger corporations, right? I mean, at the end of the day, big corporations still employ way more people than your small businesses do. And that's just 100, right? I mean, if you want to talk about the integrity, ethics, morality that these companies should have, absolutely. But if they're taking notes from the freaking government, which enables a lot of bullshit that they do, right, then we can't really blame them for doing the things that the government allows, because obviously some of them are shareholders in these companies. And so they're allowing a bunch of bullshit, right? So it's government, it's corporatism that you're upset with. But at the end of the day, these corporations still employ thousands and millions, tens of thousands to millions of Americans. And so therefore, I don't understand what you're talking about, shucking and jiving. And for the record, like I said, I'm not taking up for that CEO. I think that people who live their life doing things to intentionally screw other people over, they get what they get, right? But at the same time, that doesn't dissolve the person who executed, their consequences from their own consequences, especially if they did it illegally. In that case, that guy literally ran up to that guy, calculated killing that man, and he did. So he is a murderer, along with a hero to some. Let's see. A crime is a crime. You're literally defending a billion-dollar corporation. I'm literally saying that McDonald's has shit to do with their employee calling to turn that guy in. And you literally can't comprehend if you can't look at that situation in totality and conclude the same damn thing, right? Again, it's not about defending McDonald's. It's about saying you're boycotting McDonald's because of an action of one of their employees who probably make way less than you do. I mean, let's just keep it real. Like, why are people so emotionally irrational? Makes sense. Make all the way sense. It's just that simple, right? I'm sure I know you guys don't like snitches. Right? You hate the fact that the guy got caught, right? You were hoping that he was going to be a fugitive forever, right? But that wasn't the case. Obviously, he was sloppy enough to take his ass to McDonald's in the first damn place. So he brought McDonald's into this shit by taking his ass to McDonald's instead of just to some old, mom and pop place where everybody's not very wired to the internet. I don't know. But he shouldn't have took his ass to McDonald's. How about that? Y'all sitting up there blaming McDonald's. He shouldn't have took his ass to McDonald's. That was sloppy as hell. You just killed somebody in cold blood, a high profile person. The last thing you need to be is anywhere where there's lots of surveillance cameras and, some regular chain restaurant where they got news feeds and TVs. Do your local McDonald's have TV and the news playing all the time like mine does? Right? So as much as Luigi may be a vigilante to you guys, he was still fucking stupid. He was still fucking stupid. Either he wanted to get caught, right? Or he was literally just making stupid moves all the way. Because even taking his mask off at the Airbnb, that's that picture where he's smiling, right? The girl at the Airbnb was saying she was finessing him. That's why he was smiling. She was flirting with him, right? And he done took his mask off so he can, man. I agree with some of my chat the other day. He was an amateur. He was an amateur. He was an amateur. Took his ass to McDonald's. After you done did that, you should have had like some Spam and all kinds of shit ready to just camp out, lay low, all that shit. You got caught at fucking McDonald's, dude. You ain't no real hitter. You ain't no real fucking hitter. And that's just 100. I'm very disappointed. I was hoping they'd catch him at an airport, maybe a ferry somewhere, right? Fucking McDonald's. Come on now. Your hero wasn't that damn smart. He got caught at McDonald's. And now y'all trying to blame McDonald's because he took his ass there. Come on now. I ain't saying that this CEO that was shot was a saint. You know, obviously these insurance companies, they operate like devils, right? But a spade is a spade, all right? McDonald's didn't have shit to do with that man getting caught. The McDonald's employee did. What is these TikTokers saying? These people are just weird and dumb, some of them. I really do believe that.
For a fellow working class American, but not when you become a class traitor. So she lost her job, she didn't get the money, and also her name is probably something she doesn't want to use anytime soon. Not only that, but all the influencers and politicians and podcast bros this week who have showed themselves to be class traitors, who don't live in the same world that the rest of us do, including their typical audiences that they make money off of, yeah, they're getting their asses handed to them too. Now, Republicans and conservatives, I know you probably don't know my face that well. Whatever side you want to call it, the left, the leftists, I don't really like going by those titles anymore for a lot of different reasons. But I often call out the ops on this side. It's actually a common occurrence I do. Your ops.
She's talking about ops and stuff. These poor people, they done got these babies in war mind. They going to war with everything. But she's talking about calling this lady at McDonald's, she's a class traitor, right? She's a class traitor because she decided that I work at McDonald's, right? Can somebody in the chat tell me how much folks at McDonald's are working? I've never, ever, ever worked at McDonald's in my life. So I don't know what the pay is, the going pay is for McDonald's. But, you know, let's just say this lady's making like, how much do they make an hour at McDonald's? Like $10, $15 an hour, right? This lady looking at this dude that just killed somebody, right? And even though she may not like the way the healthcare industry is going, she may not even be informed enough to know how the healthcare industry is going. And maybe she ain't even got insurance to know all the in-depths of the healthcare industry and all those demons, right? She just see this dude that looked like a dude that she been seeing all over TV. And there's money on the table for turning this guy in. Right? And even if $60,000 ain't really a lot of money in the broad scheme of inflation and everything else, but for somebody working at McDonald's in a low skill type of job, that's a come up. That's a little come up for them. So she wasn't looking at herself as a quote class traitor. That woman was looking at like, I'm gonna possibly get a payout if I turn this dude in. But to old girl's point, you didn't follow the directions, right? The directions were for you to call in the tip line, tip off the folks, not call the local police. So it sucks for this person who decided to go out of her way to be a hero to the corporations and the feds and everybody else who was looking for this guy, right? It sucks for her now because now she possibly doesn't have a job. You know, people are boycotting her company. Right? People are likely sending her all kinds of horrible things because they look at this woman as a traitor to their hero. You turned our hero in. And, you know, even if you felt like she shouldn't have turned your hero in, I just want to know why your hero went to a public ass place like McDonald's in the first damn place. That's all I want to know, right? Not, you know, that killer instinct just kind of died somewhere because I don't know. Anyways, you know, she'll still get paid. You think she'll still get paid? She should after all this backlash from these crazy people. And you know those people, the CEOs and the like some of those folks, they want sympathy for this man, right? They hate the fact that the public is just celebrating this man dying like they are. I was looking at a post on Facebook and they were kind of putting the violins out. They had a picture of this guy and it said he had 2 kids and a mother that left behind. And I literally just, I was just like, I'm here for the comments. And boy, were they lighting that dude up in the comments. They were like, burn in hell. You know, we know that he's looking above at all of us. Those people were really giving it to that guy, right? But again, Ecclesiastes 7:1, right? The name that we live and exist with, right? The day that we are born, it is less significant than the day that we die, right? Because when you die, that is when you have all the debts. That is when you have made a name for yourself. And whatever name that you have, some people are like, oh, I don't really care what people think of me. You know, I don't really care. I don't care. Whoop de whoop de whoop. I'll be dead. That's fine. But look at how many people are celebrating this man's death. They are celebrating this man's death. And I don't think anybody should want, you know, their memory to be like that, where people are actually happy that you're gone from this earth. You, like, I would never want to be that evil to people that people are celebrating me not being there. You just on a whole other level of evil. We got the free Luigis in the house. Free my dog Luigi. Somebody put that in the chat. Free my dog Luigi. I'm waiting for all those ones, like you know, the rappers, like free Young Thug, free Young Thug. Now the Young Thug free, they gonna be like free my ninja Luigi. If an elite isn't like Putin, Trump, or Elon, you said F them, right? I didn't even know this guy existed before he died, and that's just 100. I never followed the United Healthcare CEO. I don't think a lot of us would ever known who he was without this dude just 86 of him like he did. You know, let's see. Serve her right for being a snitch. Mind your own business, right? Well, here's the thing. When you say mind your own business, this was a national news, all right? Mind your own business mean that shit is happening is very exclusive to a few people. This was national news, right? Her business was getting that reward money. So she was minding her business. She was trying to get some reward money for turning his ass in, right? Let's see. You say he wasn't allowed to have health care because of his injury. I mean, it'd be interesting to see, you know, what was the cause of the injury, though, right? Because here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize, that, you know, there are so many factors that can, you know, impact your insurance and even the payout, right? So like if you're doing like extreme stuff, like extreme sports, you actually have to have insurance to cover that type of lifestyle, right? And if you don't, if you sustain an injury doing something extreme, you may not get covered, right? And so it's really important for people to understand, you know, what their lifestyle is and align themselves with something that really aligns with their lifestyle, and not some stuff that some salesperson is just throwing at you. What if this? What is this? It's like, I don't even go hang gliding, so I'm not sure why I need to be insured for hang gliding. You know what I mean? Oh, you never know. Let's just go ahead and no, I don't need that. I don't go hang gliding. I don't do that, right? So Yucky says free Luigi, right? Free your dog Luigi. He loved, his loved one said after the surgery, he went nuts even. Oh, and the pain can drive you crazy. So you're saying that he was in so much pain after the surgery that it caused him to have some maybe PTSD? You said Luigi is for the people? You said capital punishment for Luigi. Jim thinks that he needs to have capital punishment. I told you on the gas station when it was, let's see. Okay. You said power to the people, free Luigi. All right, well, obviously he got some supporters in here. Moving on, speaking of supporters, obviously the Democrat media, they're trying to pick up the pieces. Some of them are trying to shift their alliances, right, to save their jobs and even save face, right? And, the blame game among the Democrats is very interesting. And, I'm seeing all kinds of fear mongering and tactics coming out, especially with this deportation thing. They got Latinos who have been here for generations thinking that they're going to get deported, right? And I don't necessarily think that that's what Trump is all about, right? I think, it seems like this mass deportation that he is talking about is all of those human liabilities that the Democratic Party has infiltrated, allowed to infiltrate our country, and in many instances integrate and siphon resources from our already broken systems. And so I think those are the people. But then you got some of these Latinos who are talking to black people, they're going to deport you too. And it's like, I ain't really worried about them deporting my people because we've been here. I mean, we've been here before even all the other black looking people were coming over here, immigrating, off the backs of our struggles and fights. So I ain't worried about being deported from this US of A because my people are not products of immigrants. Hell, my people have been here longer than Donald Trump's people have been here. And so have many other foundational black Americans. So Trump definitely not talking to us. All right. But Kamala Harris supporters, the black supporters, and I actually heard this about her campaign before. But now they're coming out because obviously they feel like they might be getting blamed for her loss and they don't like that very much. So it says Black Harris staffers are accusing the campaign leadership of mistreatment and outright racial discrimination. Now, how in the hell can they be accused of such things when Kamala was, black, right? Like, how could a black woman's campaign be discriminating against black people? Like, I don't get that, right? So, in a damning new article outlining numerous allegations against the now defunct campaign, the New York Times published a story Sunday titled, "How Alarmed Harris Staffers Went Rogue to Reach Black and Latino Voters." And so, in this story, they are claiming that the Kamala Harris campaign, they did not make a huge effort to reach Black and Latino voters, which is kind of perplexing to me because I would think that those two groups would be like their target demographic. But apparently, these people who worked on the campaign said that they were not prioritizing those bases at all. I really do feel like these people are making excuses why they're losing, right? I think that they're making excuses like, we didn't prioritize these people. They didn't do it, so that's how we lost. No, you lost because of the economy and the migrants, right? Kamala was too tethered to Joe Biden, okay? And people didn't want to have anything to do with anything associated with Joe Biden, specifically from a policy standpoint. And Kamala was tethered to him. I mean, and I don't understand why they don't understand that. She was tethered to Joe Biden, right? And then they just threw her ass on us when Joe Biden started malfunctioning, right? So they're upset. Many staff members felt that Philadelphia's racially diverse neighborhoods were ignored. So they're saying that she had all that damn money and she wasn't even getting into the heart of the demographics that she really needed. And I guess that's why Kamala lost the that's why she lost the Latino vote, because they didn't feel like they put enough energy or money into the Latino vote. I think another thing that happened with the Democrats, and now that I'm thinking about it, is, they, how I think that they felt like they had certain demographics locked in. And like the blacks, Latinos, I don't really feel like they thought that they needed to really go extra hard for those groups, But then when you kind of peel back the layer of just, everything, it's like, well, you guys weren't going after the white men. They were doing everything that they could to turn the white men off, right? And even when it was beneficial for them to tap into the white men, they had an opportunity to tap into the white sort of Sigma type males through the Joe Rogan podcast, right? They found a way not to do that, right? So to me, this is just my opinion. I don't think that nobody thought that Kamala Harris was ever going to win, and her campaign really gave just a big money laundering scheme to me. Like, just a big, and I want to say money laundering scheme. It was just a get rich quick scheme, because you can get rich quick through a bunch of donations for a candidate that you damn sure know is not going to win. They're not going to go the distance. The writing was clearly on the wall, right? I even got suppressed a couple of times. My live streams, whenever I talked about Kamala Harris, YouTube would really suppress my live stream. And I know it was because I was a black woman. But if they didn't suppress my live streams, I'm politically neutral over here. I have zero allegiance to either one of those political parties. And I was literally calling out the obvious shit the whole way around, right? But YouTube was suppressing people like me. So you should also blame the social media companies for y'all loss. Because while y'all so busy censoring and suppressing people, right? When you suppress common sense and logic, you lose. All right? So y'all keep suppressing common sense and logic, Democratic Party. Y'all keep doing that. And I will keep sitting back and enjoying your losses, right? And seeing how the Republicans stepped up their game, and now they just tap dancing all over your asses. He really tried. Good evening. What's going on, Audrey? I see you. You said leave black women out of this. You better tell them Democratic shills to leave black women out of this, because they're the ones. Well, we had to go with Kamala because black women wouldn't have went for it, right? Like, black women is just such a substantial voter base that they just needed to appease black women. When have they ever tried to appease us, right? They picked Kamala because she really was just the only card that they had to play. I mean, who else did they have, right? Who else did they have? But anyways, you guys, I'm on here for almost an hour. Shout out to Big Boy TV and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Very enlightening interview they did. And again, it substantiated so many things that I've already been saying, right? Jay-Z, obviously, he's trying to, go to bat with this machine. And Jay-Z has been around long enough to see how some of these lawyers, how some of these people, how they move. And we'll see how Jigga Man actually navigates some of these piles up of charges. Because I think that Jay-Z is about to get diddied to the point where they're going to just start piling on shit. You're going to start seeing people come out the woodworks and just saying shit. Oh my God, Jay-Z allegedly raped a fox and a hound somewhere. It's going to be all kinds of shit these people are coming out with, right? Supposedly Jay-Z's son is coming out, his alleged son, and saying that Jay-Z has a history of being interested in younger women, right? And, again, are we talking about, like 5, 6, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, right? 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. I think it's a little questionable when you're talking about a 17-year-old, because in many states, 17 is still age of consent. 16 is actually in some states age of consent. So, I mean, you got consent laws all over the damn place in the United States. And then, but then I also look at, you have people who are outright prostituting their children into these elite trafficking rings because they pay a lot, right? There's so much of that going on. So Or what are they saying? That this United Healthcare CEO shooter has family ties to Wall Street Nancy Pelosi? What? What you talking about, Melanie King? Let me listen to this real quick. Shout out to Melanie King. She talking about this United Health CEO. The shooter might have connections to Wall Street Nancy Pelosi. What you talking
Murder
about?
suspect.
Every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack.
While the media has put out a lot of details, there are many that they have hidden.
Like
Every year,
what?
millions of sick Americans who pay for health insurance are denied coverage because their insurer says a drug or procedure is not medically necessary or
In as the statement reads, but this is what we have now as his statement, as his manifesto, as to what is it exactly that he was trying to get to. When he was captured, he'd had $8,000 in US currency and $2,000 in foreign cash and a cellular data blocking bag to prevent tracking. And speaking of cash, he had monopoly money in his backpack. He actually tossed it and they found a backpack with that in there. But it's questionable about whether he had two bags or he had just the one, but he clearly had another bag because he had to travel. He had the gun and all of an equality measures rating of 2 out of 5. Only 25% of their residents are up to date on vaccinations. $4 million
Here
worth
we
of
go.
call options and Palo Alto
On the same day as the breach announcement, let me go back. I was trying to skip to the Wall Street Nancy side because she was recapping.
citations in that report that was back from 2024. I did a video about United Healthcare and all of the legal battles that they are going through. They're being investigated by the Senate. They're being investigated separately by the DOJ for insider trading. They also have lawsuits from their investors. They had a data security breach. The CEO was supposed to testify before Congress. And then I also tied that to Nancy Pelosi. Let me play that part for you really quickly, and then I want to just jump back to this. Now, to add on to the lawsuits and the investigations, United had a data breach that happened in February, and Brian Thompson was set to appear before Congress and testify about exactly what happened. So on the same day as the breach announcement, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi purchased $4 million worth of call options in Palo Alto Networks, a leading cybersecurity firm, which resulted in her making a staggering $11.9 million.
How the hell is Nancy Pelosi even close to Washington? Like, this woman is, how is this legal? Like, how is this? You know what? The SEC needs to do a better job. They really need to do a better job because there's no way that these people can operate with so much insider information and be able to do stuff like this. Why is she actively trading? How is it that this woman can be actively trading when she's in a position to know information well before us? You know, people like Nancy Pelosi, they empower these companies like United Healthcare. They empower these people, right?
In profits before tax. Now, that cybersecurity company are the ones that were hired to investigate the data breach that happened. What are the odds that Pelosi invested in Palo Alto Networks on the same day United Healthcare experienced a cybersecurity breach?
Man, these people are just, Lord, this is crazy. This is crazy. What's going on, chat? I see you guys. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Only 30% of black men voted for Trump. This is crazy. Thanks, not sure. I see you. I, you know, I can't take it.
Later.
Honestly, let me just make sure I just put it out there. This that she's saying is all alleged, right? But allegedly, this is a succession of events where United Healthcare had a breach, right? Supposedly, this.
What are the odds that Pelosi invested in Palo Alto Networks on the same day United Healthcare experienced a cybersecurity breach? Later, she profits significantly when that company is tasked with investigating the incident. Today, the individual who could potentially expose her alleged misconduct is killed outside his hotel. Quite a coincidence, especially just before the Trump DOJ might have an opportunity to investigate the situation.
Operated.
The Trump DOJ is going to be busy. I think that if, we're going to see so many things come, hopefully we see a lot of things come out of this Trump DOJ because the media is going to want to have some ammo, right? They're going to need some scandal, right? And I think that the Trump DOJ is probably the DOJ to get us that scandal. I really do believe that. But very interesting allegation there, right? This guy gets whacked off, right? Right before he's supposed to testify before Congress. Apparently, there were some security breaches. Company charged with investigating in the security breach consequently happens to be a company that Nancy Pelosi is trading on, allegedly. So very interesting, very interesting. All these people kept talking about maybe his wife did it. Maybe his wife had something to do with somebody killing him. Well, apparently we see that the wife had nothing to do with it, right? But that guy, right, Luigi, right, he could have been this vigilante guy who just hated the healthcare industry, right? But this guy was very well off. He wasn't broke. Luigi wasn't like some of you. He wasn't like one of you, right? He was very wealthy. He was wealthy, right? So a lot of you guys are talking about class traders, right? And you're looking at this guy as probably a Robin Hood or something like that, but that could have been like a suicide mission for that dude. If he was in as much pain as people are saying that he was in every day, the healthcare system turned their backs on him, right? He's the perfect person, right? He'll probably never tell on Nancy because he has a passion to do it, allegedly, right? Lots of interesting things. Nancy Pelosi better not be out here trying to get people to whack off CEOs. Come on, Wall Street, Nancy. I know you ain't whacking off CEOs, allegedly, possibly, right? But interesting connections Melody made there. Interesting connections. A bunch of skeletons are about to come out the closet. I think the shooter is just a fall guy. Could be, but he seemed very committed to the mission. I mean, he definitely was committed to the mission. His commitment was, I'm taking out a parasite, right? He had an emotional connection to taking out this man. And in his mind, he was doing it for the people like him who suffer from these organizations. You know what I mean? And he had the money to do something like this, right? Because this was definitely not a cheap hit. It's like, you know what I mean? He had $8,000 on him, so I'm pretty sure he was planning on trying to disappear, maybe. But he took his ass to McDonald's. Y'all better stop boycotting McDonald's. I know it's a big corporation and you guys hate big corporations, but in the broad scheme of everything, how the hell was McDonald's Corporation supposed to know that this man was going to go post up and eat breakfast there, right? How was McDonald's Corporation supposed to know that one of their, they're working class people, right? Lower working class people was going to rat out this guy so that they can get some kind of financial gain to up their lives. People do interesting things for money, right? I see people out here tricking for money. I was actually just looking at this Instagram or this OnlyFans model who was crying because she made the executive decision to bang 100 dudes in 24 hours, and now she's crying and people are hugging her, talking about some itches. It was like you would have thought that somebody had trafficked her to do that, and that she had zero will or choice to do it. She made the choice to do it, and now she's all crying and trying to get sympathy. It's like you set yourself up for 24 hours to be the boss type of whore, and now you're crying because you can't believe you banged 100 dudes in 24 hours. Y'all, it's like the motor's on with some of these people, but there's nobody behind the wheel. And that's how I feel. Didn't Jim Carrey say that in one of his movies? The motor's on, but there's nobody behind the wheel. That's how some of y'all are operating right now. That it really is. Last point, it's so funny, and I have to apologize. Not really, because some people come to like little shitty places in my chats, and I got to get busy with them. But every now and then, and Ghetto Planet, you will co-sign this. Shout out to my mod. Show my Ghetto Planet some love. Looks out for your girls. Keep these folks respectful as we are engaging in dialogue. But every now and then, I will get somebody ask me, are you a man? Are you a man? Are you a man? Don't I get that a lot, Ghetto Planet? Are you a man? And I would get offended. I would literally get offended, like, why are you asking me, am I a man? Like, I'm a natural born woman. I've had 3 children come out of my body. Trans women don't have the plumbing to do that. Okay? But I have to concede something. That there are a lot of trans women that look just like women. They look exactly like women. And I can understand why men are confused these days about natural women. And I think when it comes to Black women too, we got a lot of collagen in our face. We got pronounced features, right? And it can be misconstrued, I guess, that, we have manly features depending on your ancestry or whatever. But I'm going to try not to get offended by that, because I've been looking at these stories, right, on YouTube. My sister called one to my attention about this firefighter, nice looking brother, very, very sweet. It seems like a very nice guy, very attractive. He ended up falling in love with this woman at a church event, right? And this woman looked like a regular woman. Matter of fact, if I saw that, I'd be like, wow, she is a very, very beautiful woman, right? You just can't tell, I guess, right? And what really perplexes me is because I looked at about 3 videos back to back of men who were engaged with trans women or marry these women, and they didn't know that they had male genitalia, or they discovered through some paperwork maybe that they were it, right? Meaning that these people worked very hard to conceal their identity from these men. And so in the firefighter's case, he snapped. And he ended up brutally, 86ing this person with a hammer, right? The other scenario was the transgender woman ended up killing her husband, when he discovered that, that they were a biological male, and his reaction made her upset, so she killed him. And then the other scenario was the man killed the woman. And I have said this before, and I'll say it again because I was commenting on a video a couple of months ago with Dr. Umar Johnson was saying that he won't go on that show Pop the Balloon because he was like they try to sprinkle in all these biological males living as women in to try to trick masculine men. And a lot of these, trans women, they look like women. Like, I mean, and so I can understand if a guy, you maybe see a woman that he perceives to be attractive or beautiful or whatever it be, him asking like, are you trans? And as much as I'm offended by being asked that, because I don't feel like I look like a man, but everybody can be subjective about that. But I can get why. I can get why some guys ask that question now. I'm going to try to be less offended by it. Obviously, it's going to be a case by case situation. If you're coming in my chat just saying shit to be insulting, I'm going to, we'll deal with you accordingly. But I'm gonna try to figure out what place the person is coming from. But for those of you who follow this content, you guys know how I rock. I'm a biological woman. I have had, like I said, I have pushed out 3 children from my body. But at the same time, I do concede that there are just a lot of men living as women who are passing. They are looking way better than most women do. And some of them are surgically enhanced. So, ladies, don't let these projects make you feel too bad. I mean, they are projects, right? Because a lot of us, especially if you've never had surgery at all, you were working with all the natural things that God gave you and you're just making them work, right? Kudos to you. A lot of these transgender women, they have to have a lot of facial surgery, feminization surgery, just to pull off really looking like us. All right. So don't feel too bad when you see some of these broads looking better than you. Just remember, God made you in a way that he did not make them. All right, people don't know what a real woman looks like nowadays. And I concede to that. You know what? Look, Pete, I'm conceding to that. Like, I am literally saying, I'm making a vow. I'm not going to be so offended when guys come up to me and say, hey, are you a guy? And it's like, and I'm like a tomboy kind of chick too. So I can get why they may have that vibes. But that's like all the more reason why you shouldn't think I'm a transgender. I mean, I'm not like a girly chick or anything like that. I mean, I'm just kind of me. Like I'm like a tomboy femme, if anything. But I get it though, and that's why I said I'm trying not to be so offended by it because I get where some men are coming from, and I even found myself laughing at who was it, O'Shea Duke Jackson a couple of months ago because he was like, you sisters don't realize that men don't know what regular women look like anymore. And it's like, how the hell you don't? I mean, Adam's apple. I mean, there's got to be some, but he's right. I mean, this firefighter's wife looked like a freaking model. I mean, they were gorgeous. I mean, everything gorgeous. You would have never thought. So I'm going to be a little bit more sensitive. When guys ask me that question because I feel like I know where some of you guys are coming from. You really are confused like that. This is a troll talking shit. No, right on. Thank you so much. No, but I try to take it like, okay, I used to was taking it like that, like you're talking shit. But go look at some of these videos, just YouTube. If you're ever curious, YouTube. What was it? The exact name of it? Because my sister. Just do like man kills wife after finding out transgender. Just look that up, and then those things will start coming in your algorithm. And I mean, it's insane. Let me see if I can find this one story, because these people are out here manipulating these men. And I'm not saying that it's right to kill people, but you got to understand the mental disposition of a person who's thinking, they may be secure in their masculinity. And maybe they're, they don't rock like that. You know what I mean? And these people are out here lying, deceiving, doing everything that they can so that, the person that they're with don't know that they are their biological sex. That is so. Newlywed husband discovers wife is trans. Here it is. And this brother is very attractive. They look like a very, very attractive couple. The man is very attractive. The trans woman is attractive too.
What if I told you that?
And this is horrible. Listen to this, guys. This is horrible. And if you're trans, you need to listen to this shit. Because y'all need to stop playing with these men out here. They're not playing with y'all asses. For real.
For 911, where's your emergency?
I think I'm gonna pass out.
No, just breathe, okay? I'm gonna stay with you on the phone until they get there.
Please hurry. Please hurry. Oh my God.
At 4:30 p.m.,
and
a call came.
The 911 was on the phone the entire time he's beating this person with a hammer. Now, mind you, that sounds like a woman. That voice even sounds like a woman.
Came through to 911. A woman on the other end of the line was pleading for help. Her voice trembled, and the words "he's going to kill me" rang out like a cry
This
of
is
desperation.
Houston,
Police arrived at the scene 15 minutes
2013.
later, but it was already too late. What they witnessed shocked even the most seasoned officers. Local media would later call it one of the most brutal crimes in Houston's history. Justin Miller and Camilla Harper were, by all appearances, the picture of a happy couple. Their lives seemed intertwined by fate, a perfect union that many envied. Justin, a 35-year-old firefighter, was the kind of man who commanded respect effortlessly. His tall, athletic frame, hardened by years of physically demanding work, and his calm, reliable demeanor made him a pillar of strength in his community.
Okay, you guys, I'm not even about to lie. I ain't even no hating ass bitch. Sorry, my computer is kind of messed up. But look at this broad, guys. You cannot tell me this broad does not look like a woman. Look at that. I mean, look at that. I mean, what man would not be confused by that? So when, I get it. Like, I totally get it now, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to be offended when guys say this, because it's like, how are these men knowing these days? These broads look like these men look like broads. He married that woman. He married her. And to me, it's just, for him to find out, and this was shortly after they got married. So, I mean, she must have went full blown with the surgery in terms of like the hormones, the voice, what do they do? Like she must have had the thingy flipped in. She must have did the whole 9 yards. What I don't understand, though, is how, he did not, unless she had all of the surgeries, right? I don't understand how some of these men are not knowing that these women are men. And I guess she had a hard time telling him, and eventually she ended up telling him, and that's what made him do what he did to her. But there are so many stories on YouTube. Newlywed cop discovers his wife is trans and ends her life, right? So, I mean, you got I mean, these are so many. The newlywed husband kills his gold digger wife after she had an affair with 3 men. They ain't nothing. Cheating man kills side chick. I mean, these men are not playing. These men are not playing. I mean, they're killing even cheating side chicks. But y'all be careful out here in these streets. That's all I gotta say. If you're living these alternative lifestyles, I am always a champion for people disclosing. Just disclose. Like, you are never gonna lose just disclosing. Just disclose it. Give people the option to say yes or no. I was looking at Abba and Preach, and you got people out here with all kinds of diseases like HIV, and they don't feel like they should have to disclose those things. And this is, to me, forget about what you feel and how you feel. You have to give other people the option to be able to say, this is or is not for me. I can or cannot accept this. You cannot be superimposing your lifestyle, what you want, on other people. And I think what some of these trans women are doing is they're trying to get the buy-in from these men, right? They're not even telling these guys, about their, biological maleness until like the 8th hour, when they feel like maybe they've gotten so much buy-in from the dude that he's just going to accept it and live with it. And that's not really the reality of what's happening to these people. These men are snapping and they're getting rid of these people. So honesty pays, right? Live your truth. And living in your truth means that you telling the truth about your truth, that you're telling the truth about yourself, right? And if you're telling the truth about yourself, then one of the things you should be disclosing is anything about you that could be detrimental to another person, either physically or mentally. And I think some of these people, they are on a mission to turn straight men out on this stuff. They are on a mission to do it. I mean, you hear the way that they talk. They are on a mission to emasculate straight men, turn them out. And so you guys be careful. That's all I got to say. I'm a biological woman. Like I said, no surgeries. These are my 3 minions. And they all came out of my body. So with that being said, love your neighbor as yourself. If you would not disrespect or abuse yourself, do not disrespect or abuse your neighbor. Honesty is the best policy when it comes to these alternative lifestyles or any lifestyle. Just be honest with people. Give people the choice to say yes or no. All of the Gen Zers out here who's looking at this United Healthcare shooter as a hero, we will pray for you all. We know that you hate the corporatism and the fascism and all of that other isms, but at the end of the day, that man did make the executive decision to kill somebody else. He understood what the consequences of that was going to be. And so when we're talking about the people who decided to, quote, snitch on this guy, right, turn him in, right, those people were lower working class people who were looking for a financial gain from this situation. Maybe it work out for them, maybe it won't work out for them, but I don't think that these people, should be demonized, right, for doing what they felt like was right or profitable. And I don't think McDonald's should be boycotted because of an action of their employee that had nothing to do with the company. We got to use more common sense than that. And hopefully, some people will get to that point in their life. It takes about 35, 40 before some of these young people really get to a point of rationality. And so we do pray for these folks, right? If you're over 40, shout out to you. You probably have more common sense than anybody in society if you are a learned person. But anyways, he was fine with the consequences. He is a martyr to some. Yeah, he was fine with the consequences. I mean, he seemed to be accepting of them. And so should, but these young people need a martyr, right? I blame the Democrats for, raising this activist, generation in the school system, indoctrinating them with activism instead of teaching these people how to think rationally, right? So we got a bunch of activists in society finding their Maslowian hierarchy of need by being this savior complex and vigilante to this cause, that cause, and that cause, right? And so they're looking at this guy as a hero, right? He's a hero to these younger people who are really not much going on for themselves outside of activism and being upset about something. You said, eat a Whopper, the king don't snitch. McDonald's had no control over that dude going into one of their restaurants and having breakfast. And that's just word 100. Y'all boycotting McDonald's because this guy got captured at McDonald's. Y'all slow as hell. All right. We need those. Thank you, Info Warrior. We see you. We see you. We see you. Well, I'm getting out of here. So if you didn't get a chance to like this dialogue, then shame on you. Shame on you. You spectating ass people. Spectating ass people. That's what y'all are. Show some love. But if you don't, oh well, cheerio. Anyways, you guys, talk about something important. I have, and if you're coming into this conversation on a tail end, then you missed all the good stuff, Stephen. So you just gonna have to come back on the not tail end. Good night, William. I see you. Good night, Ghetto Planet. I see you, Blue Butterflies. I see you. Show some love to Blue Butterflies, everybody. And Info Warrior, Ghetto Planet, all love, and I will catch you guys on the next one. If you missed this, you can always catch this on the replay on my live stream tab. And thanks so much to those of you who subscribe. If you like real talk, honest talk, no political bias over here or allegiance, hit that like and subscribe button. Bye.